Okay, hey, welcome to this hopefully short video. For those of you who are just generally subscribed to my channel, this is another one of those videos that's specifically for my students, so it's probably not of interest to anyone else out there. What it is, it's going to be just a very baby intro overview of some C++. This is for a subset of my students who are placing out of a particular class, and they still need to have a little bit of experience with just the mechanics of the very basics of C++, so I'm going to run through that. So it's probably not going to be of interest to anyone else, but if you are for those of you who are going to be in my class in the fall, hey, welcome. Really looking forward to working with you. So here's the deal. If you have taken one APCSA and are scheduled for my 136 class to go along with 135, then this will have the information you need along with the email I'm going to send you. If you've already taken 127, you should already know this, but you probably will find it of value. And if you're going to be in my 127 class, then you'll get this in class along the way. All right, so the basic idea is just to go through the basics of creating a C++ program. It's not going to go over a lot of details. You have the textbook reference that you'll have for 135. There are tons of C++ tutorials out there, and videos, online tutorials, etc. So yeah, that's that. So the first thing is I'm in a directory here. So it's under, I'm calling it Hunter Pre-Work. You can call it whatever you want. And this you should put up on GitHub, and so you should all have your GitHub accounts. And you're going to have to give me two things, making two folders in here. One folder for project, and in the project folder, put the project that you're going to give me that we talked about. So that's going to be what you wrote for APCSA last year in whatever high school you went to, or some other suitable complex project. So if you took a course after APCSA, you can put a project for that as well. The idea is not to impress me. The idea is so that I have justification for saying that you don't need the pre-major 127 course. So a project from your APCSA would be terrific. The other folder is a CPP, and so that's where you're going to do some very basic C++ stuff, because I'm going to ask you to write a little program when I'm done with this and then put all this up to GitHub. You'll get information in an email on details for all of that. So not really a big deal. So the first thing, a C++ program versus a Java program, because you all know about Java programs. So the first is the structure of the program. A Java program, everything is a class. So if I were working in Java, and actually I would normally type Java, I don't know, like hello.java or hello.cpp in this case, and this would load up my version of Emacs, the editor I use. You can use whatever editor you like. I'm actually not going to do this. I'm just going to bring up an Emacs that is already running. Get rid of that. I also read my email in Emacs. Little C++ program. Just kill everything. Okay, so what we're going to do here, and I'll make the font bigger, is that's what is it? GitHub Hunter Pre-Work CVP hello.cpp. And I'll make the font bigger so people can see it, hopefully, and read it. Yeah, that should be big enough. Now, a Java program, you're going to have, I forget what we put up top, but it was like include, well, this is the C++ is include, but you put your system.java.system.io and stuff there, and then you have your class, and then you might have, let's see if I have this set up. I don't know if I do. Well, that's for C++, but you'll have like public static main. Anyway, and you have your stuff in there. But everything goes in your class, and then in the class you have methods, and you have other classes, etc., etc., etc. C++ does have classes, but we're not going to talk about them now. In C, we will have functions, and a function is kind of like a method, but standalone. So our first method we need is main, and it's going to look like this. So you see it looks similar to Java. No public and private here. Again, that's, you'll do classes later on, and you'll see that stuff later on. But it's similar to the main in your public static void main in Java, but it's just a standalone. In C++, and this is actually in C, the truth is this goes back to C, you can just have functions, which are like methods that are not in classes, all over the place. And so this is your basic program, and we're going to, I don't have, do I have this? And so that should do it. And then I can say something, hello world. And I'll explain this in a minute, but if we save this program, and we see here we got hello.cpp, I can compile this from the command line using G++, and this should be on all your laptops. And that compiles, and it creates a.out, and I can run a.out, /a.out under the Linux machines. Since you all have Linux laptops or Macs where you can drop to the shell, this should work for all of you. So that G++ line compiles your program from the source code into the executable. What we could also do is use a different output name, so now we do /hello. Okay, so that's the most basic C++ program. So let me explain what these things are here. This is how you're going to start out with output in C++, and this is an STD, the standard library, which we're including here up here with IOStream. And we're saying from the standard library, use cout, console out. This is like system out print in Java, and send to that hello world. We can also send to it then a number, and then this is the end line or the new line. So if we do this and we compile this again, hello world 22. Notice that there's no space here because we didn't put the space in here. So we could do that. Let's actually get rid of that and do and we could do standard cout, you know, I mean, and this is just very basics. And you could also use the new line like you use in Java. Okay, so that's that. So very, very basics, not really a big deal. And to go over more of the anatomy here, just like in Java, this is your return type, but since we're not doing public and private here, public or private, it's just int or float or double or car. Strings are a little different. We're not going to get into those right now. Also, we could have void if you're not returning anything. In here, you put parameters to your function. So just like public static void main has your string args argument or anything else. And the basic constructs are the same for the two languages, even though the way they work is very differently. So you've got your constructs. You can have things like, you know, int a, and like say we do, let's say, enter a number, and we'll do, and that's a way of reading from standard in, so we're going to read into A, and then we're going to say standard cout, you entered A. And we'll just do that. So now we can compile this. Okay, we entered 22. So we've got if statements. If A is greater than 10, so you got your you've got your if statements just the way you would have it in your other languages. So, or you're like in Java, 11, a is greater than 11, run it again, a is pretty small. Okay, we got that. You also have your loops, so you could have something like a equals, well, say a equals 0 while a is less than 10. Standard cout a minus minus, so the same basic deal, or we won't get into that now, a minus 1. And let's not print out the new line, let's just print out a space in there. And then here we'll do standard cout. Now here we'll just compile this, and notice we get an error in here. And notice that because we don't have the semicolon, again, similar to the way Java works, you notice that I get this little highlight here with my error because of the just the way Emacs is set up for this. So let's compile this. And incidentally, and we'll talk about this in class, +1, okay. We'll talk about this in class. Whatever. But the way I've set up Emacs to support the types of development I do, and whatever editor you use should be able to use that, even though I choose this one. It also has for loops, which are pretty much the same. Well, actually, for loops are the same as not the iterate for loop, not the for each, but the for, this one. Did I not recompile it? I did not recompile it. All right, for I equals 0, let's start that out. There we go. And I should probably put a new line here as well. Okay, so these are the basics. It's got, the basic mathy stuff you've got, just like in Java, the for loops, the while loops. You can do functions in a similar way that you can do methods, but there's no classes. So like if I make a very simple function, int add two numbers, int a, int b, return a plus b. This is the same thing as you would have in a Java method. Basically the return type, the name, the parameters, and then what you do, and this is the body of your function. You have variables and stuff like that in there. Basically the same rules. So if we do something in here, and we can say like int c equals add 2 of 5 and 3, and then we will standard cout c and we get that value of 8. So there's the basics there as well. So all of the basics, functions, whatever. There's of course a lot more, but this is just the very introductory stuff. All programs must have the main. It's like your main in a Java program. Later on we'll talk about separate files, all sorts of fancy things, recursion, all like arrays and all the stuff that you've done in Java, and then way beyond that. But these are just the basics that you're going to need. Now I want to show something else. A lot of people don't like writing the standard cout, and now I'm not advocating doing this. Some people you'll see using namespace standard, and that puts you in the standard namespace, and what you can do then is you can just use cout I'll just put the new, well, we'll just do it this way. And if I compile this and I run it, notice I didn't need that, and I'm going to break out of this because I'm using namespace standard. Do not do this. below line only works if you are using namespace standard. There are reasons not to involving keeping namespaces clean and conflicts and whatever. It's not a good practice to use an entire namespace like that. There are reasons where you might, but generally it's going to be frowned upon it, and I am not a fan of it. Nowadays, like, I don't know if I have my editor set up, but if I do cout and hit tab, no, it's not set up for that. Well, that's going to be that. Actually, let me look at my snippets and see what I have. All right, well, okay, I'm not going to take the time off the video and make you watch this. Most editors do autocomplete or snippets or something, so you don't have to type in a lot. But even though it's not that big of a deal to type, the other thing that you could do is you could say things like using standard cout, using standard endl, and if you do these, or the other using line. So let's comment this back in. And it works because I'm explicitly saying use cout and use endl from that namespace. This is much better, just bringing in the specific things you need. But even so, you know, I don't really have a problem. You know, like the editors will support you for this, and you can see where everything comes from, etc. So that's the basic overview. You know, main routine, functions if you need it. A lot of the stuff you'll see is very similar to what you've done in Java. So that's the basic overview. I'm going to ask you to write a small, simple C++ program to do something. It'll be pretty open-ended, but just something that shows that you can use the constructs. You know, as a little example, very, very simple code. We're not going to go too into depth in anything advanced with it. You know, this is just the pre-work. This is the stuff that's going to justify you placing out of that 127 course, along with having taken, you know, the project that you're going to submit to show that you can write more substantial code in Java. So that's about it. Looking forward to seeing you all at the end of August. Yeah, okay, and that's it. Bye-bye.